Each year, millions of tax dollars are wasted on crooks who claim to be too sick to hold a job.
Yeah, they wind up getting Social Security disability payments, even though they're really not disabled at all. And as Fox 5 I-Team reporter Randy Travis points out now, the real victims are not just taxpayers. Randy?
That's right, Russ and Sine. Congress and the president just agreed on tougher laws aimed at the worst offenders. Disability fraud costs all of us money, but it costs the truly disabled something far more valuable: time.
There's 78.
So this is the World Series ball.
Don Larson's perfect game.
Time. Brian Doyle always figured he'd have plenty. When you're a New York Yankee World Series hero, the world stands still.
The second baseman, number 25, Brian Doyle.
Brian hit .438 for the Yankees to help win the 1978 World Series. His major league career coming to an end 4 years later. Deeply religious, he ultimately started a worldwide ministry with baseball as a theme.
So you made six figures before you retired?
Before I retired.
But that was 33 years ago.
Yes.
Not making six figures anymore?
No, I don't know. Here's six figures. That's all I know about that now.
Six fingers,
That's
not
right.
figures, right?
That's right. That's right.
Brian suffers from Parkinson's disease, contracted after he beat his battle with leukemia. The NEWNAN resident can no longer drive.
There's 7 in the morning, 3, 5, and 10 at night.
That's a lot of medication.
That's a lot of medication.
So nearly 3 years ago, Brian filed for Social Security disability benefits.
Last night,
do you think he's disabled? Well, twice the government looked at his medical records and said he could still work. Application denied.
But I was extremely disappointed and frustrated.
Much of the frustration stems from people who should never be getting disability benefits, like these retired New York cops. Federal authorities say more than 100 of them used fake medical records to claim $30 million in fraudulent benefits, a scheme that went on for 6 years. Most have pled guilty.
The idea that many of them chose the events of 9/11 to claim as the bases for the disability brings further dishonor to themselves.
Because of that fraud and a growing number of applications, it can take years to get before a disability judge to plead your case. First, your file has to be read by an examiner. If that's denied, you can appeal to another examiner. And if you're denied twice, then you're finally allowed to go before a judge and get a ruling, after waiting in the on-deck circle in Georgia an average of 530 days.
I think we're actually seeing it probably getting worse right now.
Attorney Greg Rogers agrees fake applicants make it harder for the truly sick ones.
It may turn out to be a denial, but it still is part of the problem that's clogging up the system for people like Brian that are also trying to get through that system.
The new law increases punishment for lawyers and doctors who participate in disability fraud.
I mean, I hate to say it, but I take some of my own profession to task on that a little bit. I think that we need to do a better job as gatekeepers of who's actually applying for benefits and letting people really know, you know, what they're up against and what they're going to have to go through when they go through this process.
If it wasn't for family and friends and our good Lord, we wouldn't be sitting in this house. This house, it would have been foreclosed on.
Finally, in September, Brian got his hearing before a judge. Earlier, we reported on how winning disability cases sometimes depends on which judge you get. Some almost always grant the appeals, some almost always deny. It's the luck of the draw.
I was not nervous.
Did you look up his average of approvals?
Sure did, 51%.
So he's batting over 500.
Yes, he is. That gets you in the Hall of Fame.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. In October, Brian got the call, one that felt almost as good as the one he got from the Yankees decades ago. Time was back on his side.
Have endurance, have friends and family to support and pray, because I'm living proof that almost after 3 years, I finally won my case.
You're still not sure exactly how much he'll be getting each month, maybe around $1,400, but the bigger benefit, Russ and Sine, is that he qualifies now for Medicare. He's only 61 years old, so he'd have to wait 4 more years, but because he's disabled, he qualifies for Medicare, and that will really help in trying to control his Parkinson's disease.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad it worked out for him, obviously. I mean, it's irritating because it should be patently obvious that his is a legitimate case. Although he does look better than the last time you showed him.
Right, it's obvious, Russ, and he got before the judge, and in 40 minutes it was over. You're right. He does look better, and he says he's doubled his medication since the last time we talked to him. In fact, even after this interview, he went to play golf, and he says he always falls down many times when he plays golf. And if you play with him, there's one requirement. If that happens, you have to laugh. Okay. And he says there's a lot of laughing that goes on when he plays golf.
What great energy he has.
Yeah,
That's
sure does.
fantastic. Thanks, Randy.
Okay, thanks, Randy.